fantastic results in the climate, as I said, that the economy is currently going through. But it does suggest what we have seen in other parts of the world, where your information technology sector takes off first and then everybody follows, because of course they are spending on being more competitive and producing more.
Yes, I think if you look at the IT sector overall, I think people need to spend money. It's just where they spend that money. Do they spend it on software? Do they spend it on infrastructure? Do they spend it on other services?
Right.
IT is now a business imperative, and we've seen that there's been an uptake, and we are pleased with the results, but they were expected.
In terms of where that growth came from, I was just looking through the numbers very briefly as I came in here, and I saw your numbers suggest that at the headline level, you've got an increase of 41%, and the main business itself, 50% coming from the services business.
Yes.
Why is that in particular? What does that business do?
If you look at the services side of the business, it includes the whole enterprise application space where we basically implement systems.
Right.
It includes the managed services side where we do a lot of managed services on behalf of clients, both in the technical arena and in applications. It includes the outsourcing space itself directly where we do sort of break-fix type work, and the consulting services. But we've actually seen that revenue's grown by 40%, headlines by 30%, headline earnings. But we've seen a big intake or big upswing in the infrastructure side where people are spending more money now on infrastructure, which there was a bit of a slowdown for more than a year.
Yeah. Now, in terms of industries themselves, where are you seeing that growth? Is it across the broad range of industries in South Africa, or is it a particular segment?
Well, we operate in all different areas in South Africa in terms of the different industry verticals. But we have seen a bigger uptake in the financial services, which was probably the first and hardest hit a little while ago. But certainly in our business, we have a lot of growth in the financial services sector.
Yeah. I see the cash pile is up 16.1% to 213 million rand. What do you want to do with that cash?
Well, we grow by two different ways. We have organic growth and we grow by acquisition, and it's part of our strategy. And it always has been part of the EOH strategy to have a combination of both. So we find the cash very handy for that growth strategy in terms of acquisitions. And of course, once you buy a new business, it absorbs cash.
Right.
And as businesses grow, obviously they need more working capital. So the cash is very handy. Right.
Last year, you bought one segment of the business. I think it was from IBM.
Yes.
How much was that?
Yes, we bought Glacier Consulting for 36 million rands.
And the strategy behind that?
Well, we want to be obviously a big player in all the infrastructure parts of the business in the sector. So we obviously have some HP work, and we want IBM, so we cover a much broader range. The other thing in terms of the infrastructure side and hardware is we want to build our technology managed services business, and the first stage of that is to make sure that we're selling the hardware and then manage it for our clients going forward.
Okay, so acquisitions last year, are we looking at any this year?
We are always looking at acquisitions. It's just part of, as I said, it's part of our strategy. Sure. On an ongoing basis, we're always looking at several. They need to be strategic, or they always are strategic, and they need to complement our business. So we are seeing growth across the sector, so we're looking at lots of businesses right now.
Any that you're currently looking at now, perhaps that you think will be completed by the end of the year, and how substantial would they be? Would they be life-changing in the life of EOH?
I don't think they'll be life-changing in terms of EOH. We tend to absorb businesses in small chunks. So we don't generally go for huge companies initially. So we go for smaller businesses to give us the first stage into a new area, or to bulk up in some of the services we currently have. But yes, we will be concluding other acquisitions during the course of this year. And
in terms of growing the company in 2010, where do you see demand coming through? When we came in, you were talking about other sectors that weren't growing as fast as the other sectors. Which ones weren't growing as fast as the other sectors?
Well, I think if you look at the application space, a lot of...
Just explain for the layman at least. Okay. When you talk applications, what are you talking about?
Yeah. When you talk applications, we're talking about software, we're talking about those systems that basically enable business to function. Okay. The SAPs, the Oracles, those sort of types of software, where integrated systems for finance, for HR, etc. Right. Now, what we've seen is that clients aren't upgrading hugely in those spaces. They're basically sweating their software. So what we've seen a big uptake in is managed services, the application managed services, where clients are trying to use the functionality of those applications and get more value out of them. Right. So we're not seeing huge spends in new software. but we're seeing spend in terms of managed services. So that's the one area that's slowed down.
Okay, so where would that growth come from in 2010?
Well, the growth is coming from, well, it's coming across the board, but it's coming in infrastructure. It's coming in the services themselves. As I said, the managed services, the outsourcing services, and we're driving quite hard what we called business process outsourcing. And we're wanting to obviously increase that side of the business in terms of HR and payroll services, as well as what we call wealth creation services, which is financial services.